Hello again, friends. Welcome back to another Firepit conversation with me, Richard Clinton. It's great to be here again, to be able to talk with you on this beautiful morning. It's mid-June, and it's in the mid-50s, and it feels absolutely wonderful out here. It's very odd to have this kind of weather in June, but I'll take it all day long, because it feels wonderful. As I'll be out later on sweating it out, I'm sure. Yeah, I just pray everybody's doing well. It's a pleasure to be back here talking with you, to be able to share some more of my thoughts, some more things that have just been going through my mind and my heart over the past week. And there's a lot going on, a lot of craziness in this world, a lot of evil that's being permeated throughout our society in a lot of ways, and that's drumming up just more hatred and more violence, more division in this country. And it's a sad state to watch. But as I look at everything that's happening, and this isn't our first rodeo down some of the things that we're dealing with. One of the things that I look to and I see as an obvious culprit in the middle of this is the way Satan infiltrates all of this, the way Satan takes root, and his whole idea is to sow fear and to sow division amongst us, even amongst believers, right? And that's what he wants. The more we're divided, the more we're at each other's throats, the more separated we become from God. And it's just, and it speaks even deeper, because this Sunday is Father's Day, and I've heard this said many times that there's certain people not celebrating Hallmark holidays and so forth. But and I get that, but I want you to understand something, because this is something that really, first off, it bothers me when I see this happen. But Father's Day is given very little space, if you will. We make a big deal, and God bless, and there's a reason for it. We make a big deal out of Mother's Day. We make a big deal out of celebrating moms, and I love being able to celebrate my wife and celebrate my mom each year, and for their contributions to my life, for the way the type of mom Amber's been as my wife by my side through the years, and and it's great. And then when we come to Father's Day, it seems to be glossed over in a lot of ways. I'm watching rabbits chase each other over here. That's kind of funny. So I want to stress the importance of what this day means, of what it should mean, and what it could mean for us. And because, man, there is a place, and I'm really talking to men, to fathers today, in a lot of ways, because we have in so many ways lost our place in the society. And that's maybe one of the reasons why the day's kind of glanced over a little bit. I remember a few years back when we first started our Anvil men's boot camp in 2017. We had gone through our first weekend, and we got ready to, we were making our plans for our second weekend that fall. And we had put together a video that we were going to show at church on Father's Day to be able to talk about it. But one of the things that really struck me that day when that video was shown was that, yes, it was shown, it was great, but at the same time, the sheer number of people that were there was very small. It's almost, there was an excuse in that to not be there, and it just wasn't. It definitely didn't get the reception that maybe I think it should have, because the importance I feel that we have as men to be able to step up, and this call on my heart to be able to go after and rescue the hearts of men has been important for my life, um, and then what we do, and I really realized that that particular day was a very hard day to really get that message out, because people are scattered the winds. Men are out doing other things on Father's Day and whatnot. So and so be it. I'm not faulting them for that. I mean, if I could be out on the mountains and on a hike, or I mean, a couple years ago, actually, I think it was that Father's Day. I was out kayaking that afternoon at a local lake, and it was a beautiful afternoon, just being out by myself and enjoying a cigar and sitting on the water. And but you know. There's a real importance to this day, friends, and I'm gonna stress that over and over. And there's a role, men, that we have as fathers to our kids. And if you look at what's going on in this world, if you look at crime stats, if you look at all these kids that are out there just causing utter chaos, because a lot of them are kids. What a lot of it speaks to me, it amplifies fatherlessness that's going on in this society, and how much the role of men and of fathers has taken a back seat. And it's something that we have to address, we have to contend with, we have to deal with. Because, men, we have a very important place. But it begins with us really stepping forward and choosing to receive identity as sons, and choosing to step into that, so that we can now begin to become the type of men that we are meant to be. To steal words from Morgan Snyder, to become the type of men that God can entrust the care of his kingdom. And that's what he's after in us, for those that choose to take that narrow road, those that choose to step into that. But we have to choose to do so. And if we don't, I mean, the repercussions of it is, we're already seeing it. And it's generational, because it carries over, and it seems to be amplified with each generation because of this epidemic. You want to talk about an epidemic, and pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Fatherlessness and the diminished role of fathers has taken massive hold, and men have taken a very passive backseat in many respects in this culture, in this world. And we've got to find that place. We've got to find out where we should be in our place again, as sons and as warriors for the kingdom. And how can you become a warrior for the kingdom if you continue to take a passive back seat to all of it? If you choose to not begin to step into a more intimate life with God, because that's where it has to begin. It has to begin with choosing to step into that. And there's a lot of things. I mean, and I read a lot of different books, and there's several things that have just stuck out with me over the years. And I'm gonna highlight a couple things this morning that have really kind of come back to me this week as Father's Day draws near. One book is The Heart of a Warrior, written by Michael Thompson, and that's one I would definitely recommend that you check out, men. To really, Michael does such a fabulous job of really taking you on this journey of becoming a beloved son, and walking in that, which is your identity, your core, the center, where it begins, and then where you can then become the warrior, and the training that takes place in us. And one thing that Michael says that really has always stuck out with me And I think the church by and large has missed the mark here, and he calls it out here. And he says that until the healing and training of men becomes the central mission of the church, men are never going to find what they need within its walls. I mean, I think that speaks volumes of what a big part of the problem is. And then if we're 95% of the problem, I promise you we're 95% of the solution. One thing Michael writes is that possibly our greatest challenge is getting on the same page regarding the problem plaguing men. Men are casualties of an ancient and relentless masculine identity crisis. Men suffer from a lostness that regenerates itself generation after generation. So it again, like I said, it's oftentimes it's this cascading effect that ripples through generations, and we see it as fatherlessness continues to take root. That we see the result of it in our kids in many respects, and I'm blessed and thankful to be able to have 3 awesome kids, to be their father, to be able to have been their dad over these last 22 years. Has been amazing to have, and the journey that's been on. And there's a lot that I've learned along the way, a lot that I've stumbled on and through in many respects, because I mean I had to learn. I was a father at 19, and so there's a lot I really had to figure out along the way, and I'm still not perfect at it by any means, but I can honestly say in many respects that my choosing to step into this, to begin to step into this narrow road, to begin to step into this with God life as a son, as a beloved son, and stepping in as a real warrior for the kingdom, stepping into that has caused a ripple effect that is the reverse of what we see in many ways. Because I now have kids that are just that are truly beginning to fall in love with Jesus in many ways, and seeing their own faith blossom in many respects, and a year after I came to faith, I got to see them come along and begin to move in it, and I got to baptize all of them, including my wife, in front of our family, which was an amazing thing. But since then, what has happened has been even more phenomenal, because I mean, what I've seen is now a true awakening of faith, and a faith that is now not just following along, seeing what, because of where Dad has gone. It is now seeing a faith become all their own. Like just last August, my daughter came to me and just asked me if I would baptize her again while we were down on the Gulf Coast in the Gulf of Mexico, and I was like, absolutely. And because she had come from a place where she was young, she was, I think, 14 at the time, 13 or 14, and there wasn't a doubt that she believed in that, or she wanted to do and take part in that. But since then, what I've seen in that young lady has been this amazing faith that is truly her own. She is truly a young lady that is after the heart of God, and now she gets ready to step off into college. I'm so excited to see that happen. And then last week, my wife and I were out celebrating our anniversary, and I get a call from my son, and he's just in tears, and he's sitting up here by this fire pit where I'm at right now. And I think it's felt like the Holy Spirit just ambushed him, and he just felt like he's dealt with a lot. He's had a lot of health issues even since all this happened, since that first baptism 4.5 years ago. He's been in and out of the hospital. He struggled with a lot. Had a lot of things that went south in high school for him. Things that he thought he was pursuing didn't turn out the way he'd expected. And so there's been a lot of challenges, and a lot of ways he's questioned his own faith. And Holy Spirit really just ambushed him, and he was just like, I need to stop tiptoeing in. I want to really walk with Jesus in a true, authentic way. And I'm floored. I'm in tears just kind of hearing my son just say that. My heart just was so happy to see that happen. And hearing those for my kids, it's because it's not anything that I specifically told them they needed to do, right? My hope and prayer was that always by learning to try to model this life the best I could, that it would have an effect. And I'm not saying I am 100% the reason for it all, but what's happened is, I think what happens in all of us men is that when we choose to step into it, when we choose to model it, there's almost this desire to go after whatever is going on within us, right? And it's not always the case, but I think that there's this ripple effect, and it's caused this hunger in their own hearts to really pursue what that can mean for their life, what a real authentic faith of their own can really mean. So again, if this has been a generational issue for you, you have a place to break that generational cycle. You have the ability to do so. So I want to encourage that, because what we see in so many respects is that men don't have taken a back seat. Men have chosen passivity. Men have chosen paralysis in many ways. And I'm gonna read this. This is actually from this morning's devotional, but it comes out of John Eldridge's book, Waking the Dead. And he says, "Son, you were made in the image of God, who is the great warrior. Your convictions constitute a great part of your mission here on earth, to join the great warrior in the battle against evil. It is this nature that will enable you to overcome the passivity and paralysis inherited from the fall. In fact, you regularly side with one or the other, the warrior or the paralyzation, in every decision you make every day. There are many ways for your warrior heart to emerge. You don't have to join the military, though that is a noble calling. Over the ages, the pen has been mightier than the sword, as the old saying goes. But regardless of how you choose to stand with the great warrior, your warrior heart says, I will not let evil have its way. There are some things that cannot be endured. I've got to do something. There is freedom to be had. The warrior heart says, I will put myself on the line for you. Your nature is fierce and brave and ready to confront evil, ready to go into battle. There is a time to stop saying, why is life so hard? Instead, you partner with Jesus, taking the hardness as the call to fight, to rise up and take it on, just as Jesus had to fulfill his life's great mission. So this is a call for each one of us, men, that we are called to be warriors. We are called to really step in not just as fathers, but as husbands and as men and as brothers with one another. We are meant to walk shoulder to shoulder and for this kingdom and alongside the great warrior, as John calls it. We can't take an idle seat. We can't stand back. We can't not do anything. My life has been dealt with a lot of challenges this last year. But friends, I firmly believe that this calling, this mission is needed, because we need more men to step up. We need more men to step into the game, because the end result, if not happening, it's going to be far worse than we're already seeing. I firmly believe that. So we have to do something. So friends, there's so much more. I could go on. Seriously, I could really go on this topic for quite a while if I really wanted to. I mean, this could almost be a series specifically on this subject and this topic. But for today, I just really want to reiterate again, as we come into Father's Day this weekend, and really, I really feel we each need to process and think about where, as men, what has been our place? Where have we not engaged in the way we should with our kids? And this is questions I ask myself, because like I said, I still don't do this perfectly. Where do we need to engage more? Where do our kids truly need us in their own lives? And this isn't just for young kids. This is if you have adult kids as well. And I do. And so these are questions, but I'm still trying to really work through of really how to continue to engage my sons and my daughter as they step into adulthood. This is something for all of us. You can choose to break whatever generational cycle has taken root in your own family and your own lives, that has caused added passivity, and it's not lost on anyone. The paralysis of choosing to not engage, the paralysis and passivity of choosing to take the back seat and not do anything. And I see it day in and day out. And I'm going to read, last thing I'm going to share here, these statistics that Michael Thompson shared from the Heart of a Warrior, the journaling workbook, where he says that the typical U.S. church is 61% female and 39% male. On any given Sunday, 13 million more women than men attend church. 8% of churches have a men's ministry, and those that do, less than 10% of the men attend the men's ministry. And I'll add that even further, that of that 10%, even fewer, maybe 10% of that are actually fully engaged in some way. And so that says a lot. When the men's ministry has diminished, or is non-existent in a church family, in a church body, that adds to fuel to this flame, this issue, this problem of men not being engaged. And so it's incumbent upon those of us to step out and do something about this. And this is where I choose. This is the mission that God has called me into, to go after this. And I know there's many more of you that probably, if you search deep enough, if you ask deep enough, there's probably a mission in there for you as well. So ask God where He wants you to engage, because we need men that will pursue the hearts of other men. We need more of us out there. So friends, that's really what I want to share this morning. Again, I could go on this forever, but I'm going to leave it at that for today, and go about getting this day started. It's been a pleasure just to be here again, just to share some thoughts with you. And as I watch the rabbits and the squirrels and the chipmunks run around all around me this morning, and it's always fun to sit out here and do that. But thank you again for joining me this week. I look forward to seeing you next time. And I pray that you all have a wonderful week. And we'll see you again on the next Firepit conversation. Take care, friends. God bless.